just to make sure everyone knows exactly what we're dealing with once again, once this data level is loaded in, of course. Northern Fjords, such a pretty map. Definitely used to be one of my more favorite maps, but Parent Rumble Canyon Ambush probably topped that. All right, so we are going to get into our game on the Furigari Mark II, captained by Gilder. We've got double Merc up front with Mine Banshee on the sides, and on the Kusanagi, captained by Brick Hardcastle, we've got triple Artemis, two Artemis one side, Artemis front with that gap mortar on the other. And give a quick rundown of ships, Zil.
Certainly. For the Timmy's Reckoning, we have, piloted by Byron as an engineer. Gonna point that out again. He's got a gap mortar side with a front Artemis and two more Artemis to complement that one. On the T-string, piloted by Feast on Thrones, we have a gap mortar front with a double Merc side.
Now, I will ask you this. What do you think about the Pyramidion having double Merc on the side versus the Kusanagi, the Furigari, who's got the double Merc up front?
My personal taste has been on the side. But it kind of depends on what you're going for, because I've run both, and if you put them on the front, that's pretty much what you're trying to go for. And given his side guns being a mine and a banshee, I doubt he's going to have anybody hopping down on those guns. We might see, he might surprise me, but it's kind of all in the strategy that you have behind it. Whereas the double Merc up front, you present a smaller profile for the Pyramidion, and you keep that long range and you keep that back and forward motion. Whereas with the side, you present a larger target, but you get the back and forth motion for dodging, and turning a Pyramidion, while it is a floating brick, it can still manage to be done in decent time if you do it properly and get people on those front guns and surprise whoever's trying to charge you.
I really dislike double Mercs. just as a concept, it's all right. It's so annoying to play against. And
were you here for 1.0?
Yes, I believe yes. I was.
So you were here for the double Merc Pyramidion.
I don't quite recall, because that was back in like what, December
1.0,
of 2012
that's
or something. Yeah, I started playing in December. Was that past 1.0?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look.
I mean, look, I didn't play competitive, so I don't.
There was no competitive back then. It was just
right. I didn't even play like higher level stuff. Basically, anytime I saw a bunch of higher levels, I just got out of there because I didn't really feel like it. I was here when Heavy Flax ruled the sky. When Heavy Flackfish just obliterated everything. That's what I was here for.
I don't miss those days.
Yeah, I think I pulled off, was it like a 45 game win streak because of that. It was quite amusing. Anywho, we did have a slight relog again, as somebody had their engineering report stuck in the middle of their screen, so they quickly had to relog, and hopefully we'll finally get some action going on in this game after multitudes of little niggling technical issues. But
both teams definitely have a plan, because they both went to the exact same spot, or fairly the exact same spot as where they were before we restarted.
Absolutely. Now, it looks like the T-string and Timmy's Reckoning very much pointed towards this little archway that's kind of in front of them. I don't quite know if they have some sort of like scouting report on BFS team, if they know where they like to go through on this map or something of that sort, because that's a very specific place to be pointed at.
Certainly. Although, if you think about it, if you look at it here, so he's got those mercs pointed towards that little opening, and then he's got his front pointed towards the other route that they could take around the mountain. And it's a lot. If they come around that rock, that's definitely short range, and he'll want that gap mortar on them. But if they come through that arch, it's fairly long. It's pretty close for mercs, but it can be done. So I would chalk it up to that. I think he's covering both flanks right now. And they're just going to sit there and they're going to wait and see what happens. Definitely
Yeah,
a gent staple.
very much so, but don't know if the BFS team is going to really make any moves forward either. You know, they have their lesmocked Artemis just ready to pounce from an extremely long distance. They have that double merc on the Furigori as well, so they might just be quite content sitting on their own end as well. So we might have a
I
little bit
believe
of
it's a
sitting going
matter
on
of
here.
spots at this point. As
And
soon
I
as
don't think
spots
any of those
start
are.
going on,
I don't think
then
any of those
yeah.
are going to be happening because they're sitting on opposite side of this mountain, completely out of vision of each other, and I don't think there's any flares on any of these ships, right?
No, there is not. So, it's funny that a lot of teams will, you don't see a flare as much as you used to. They used to be pretty big back when they put 20 stacks on stuff and, 15, excuse me, 15 stacks on things and just kind of trolled around. But now, even for sniping teams, unless it's like a galleon and they put it on the back just because you can, you really don't see it.
I've seen them. At least I personally put one on the wing of a Mobula as well, just to let my engineer or gunner jump down and toss out a flare if need be. Those side guns on Mobulas, not the most useful, at least not both sides. I personally put an Artemis on the what I like to refer to as the short side on a Mobula, where you have the ladder side, so that the gunner can run back up to the top gun as quick as possible, and then put a flare on the other side. So that's my personal flare usage. I think I also actually use one on a goldfish, just because the side guns on a goldfish tend to not be used all that much.
Yeah, I like to put it on the, not the whole side and use it offensively. It's a good way to put fire on people.
Right. So, all right. So I think the only ship that we really haven't taken a closer look at is the T string, as we had to restart last game. So let's see. They got that meta median set up front with that double mercs on the side. Let's see. They are using charged as well for those guns, so they're definitely going for more of the sheer power than the component disabling. And then we've got Ed Goss with that, let's see, greased, charged, and Lesmok. Um, so it's definitely got that charged down here for those mercs. Lesmok for, I don't know which one of these would you use Lesmok for? I guess you
On
would use it for the merc.
Personally, neither, but I would say the merc. Although I have heard some people try to make an argument for Lismok and a Gatling. I don't. I haven't tried it personally. I'm not. I don't think I ever will.
I mean, I almost want to say that that's like best served on the mortar here, but I'm not sure if the mortar is something that Ed would ever jump onto.
Given its
Mortars, of
positioning,
course.
I would say not.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of more of a curious choice there. I don't know. Maybe I would have taken Incendiary or something else for the Gatling up front, but
I do
Greased
love
is
me
quite.
some Incendiary Gatling.
Yeah, it's quite nice. Spreads all that fire quite quickly everywhere on the opposing ship. Let's see. Have we had really much movement? No, not quite. Both the Kusanagi and
Um,
Furigori just kind of.
they are moving. It is at a snail's pace, but Furiguri has been inching ever so slightly forward for a long time now, and Kusanagi is just he's abandoned that mountain spot, and he's starting to move into these clouds. Definitely very open. Oh man, I'm trying to angle this here to see what. Yeah, those clouds are just all up in their way. If those clouds weren't there, you would certainly be just staring down the gent's position down at the moment. Furiguri inching,
Furigori
sticking to
getting
that spot.
a little bit closer. A little bit closer.
putting
Throwing
mines out
a
because
throwing a mine out.
I think I'm gonna say that's a board mine.
Yeah, that's oh god, we haven't done anything in so long, and at least it's not a banshee. Does not shooting out the banshee over there,
We
so
have
not giving
moving
away
from the
position.
gents. We have a spot on Kusanagi.
We do indeed, and the Gents are gonna move for. That's actually a crazy spot.
Yeah, that's an interesting spot. How they manage that one is beyond me. But
I almost feel like that's when you're just taking your spyglass and you just start clicking everywhere on the screen and hoping that you hit the correct. Like, maybe you'll get that weird spot programming going on, and they do manage to get it in this case. But Kusanagi loses it right away. They were rather far away to begin with, and the Gents have kind of moved around to the backside of the mountain now.
yep. And Furguri is moving up ever so slightly. Man, it's just it's definitely the slow dance around this what would you call it?
Yeah, it is a kind of an interesting rock formation. I'm not. It seems like I guess archways. You can call them archways. There's plenty of them here. I'm not sure if there's any specific name for this type of land formation, but Timmy's Reckoning gets spotted now. I believe Kusanagi spots them. Yep, they do spot them, and they do start shooting that Artemis off. So if we have our first shots of the day first, or of this match first, hits going back and forth. So both the Kusanagi and Timmy's Reckoning know where each other's are. Timmy's Reckoning slinks right back down behind this rock, and Furugori, are they? What exactly is Furugori doing?
Looks
Are they
like he
just
pulled a
sitting right here?
U-turn, and I would be curious to see where he decides to go. Those
It
mercs
looks like
don't
they might
have
be going to the
anything of
backside of
arc
that
anymore. Yeah,
mountain again.
it's what it. Uh-oh, a tar coming from Timmy's Reckoning.
And it's hoping that that's just one of those mistake tars where you're scrolling through your mouse wheel just a little bit too fast. I don't think that was anything.
Oh, people still scroll? Oh no.
G-string, T-string, and Kusanagi spot each other here, and let's see, T-string taking some pot shots at Kusanagi. I don't know if Kusanagi is going to return and that fire. Yes, they do. So fire going on between these two ships. Kusanagi has gotten a gun knocked out, but only a Gatling, nothing too big. But he is taking a little bit of armor damage there. Timmy's Reckoning staying back for a Gory. Moving on forward here, I think they're going to try to turn their front guns and start firing off the T-string as well. T-string has risen a little bit there, so they are out of that arc, and fire still continuing to come down, but not hitting anything. T-string just going to move right on forth. They don't want to get double teamed. All right, Timmy's Reckoning now getting spotted here, so at least we're getting a little bit of action going on as Kusanagi and Timmy's Reckoning once again firing off at each other. And I don't know if the Gents have actually gotten any wind of the Furugori yet. They do know that there was some firing going on into the T-string, but they may just think that that was all Kusanagi because none of those mercs actually connected. You couldn't tell that there was a large amount of mercs being shot off as well. Kusanagi is actually getting stuck a little bit between Timmy's Reckoning and T-string here. It does have to be careful. Armor does get knocked off
Wow,
here.
that focus is just going
but the
T-string's also
losing
taking
armor
the focus.
fully, as Furugori is just right in here whomping the T-string in the side with these mercs, and T-string took a decent amount of damage there.
Yeah, that engagement did not go in favor of the Gents, losing about 40% of his perma to that. Did they know where the Furuguri was? Because
I don't think so.
I think they
do not
only saw
believe
the
they did.
Kusanagi and didn't see the Furuguri. Furuguri got that damage in
Yeah, they just turned their front guns and slammed right into the T-string side. T-string definitely got blinded there by the amount of damage that was coming through, and now Timmy's Reckoning and T-string moving on forth. So Furugori may be in a little bit of trouble here. Of course, it does only have double mercs up front to defend itself with, so it's got to start backpedaling, or I don't know, maybe turn and toss a mine or two. But Kusanagi and Furugori going at, let's see, I'm not quite sure which one of these ships are trying to fire. It looks like it is Timmy's Reckoning. They are going after Furugori. However, getting approached by the T-string. They are trying to take the
Oh,
T-string
Ferguri
down
taking a
now.
bad bounce. Here comes that gap mortar versus double merc front situation.
Yeah, and T-string
And
is getting the better part of this. They are charging right into the face of the Furuguri. Furuguri cannot do a whole lot here. They are trying to
T-string
just
taking a
knock.
lot of engine damage. Interestingly, he might not be able to keep up this charge on the Furuguri as the Kusanagi continues to rain in fire on the T-string.
Trying to get some of those engines rebuilt as the guns were not taken down.
Hull
Armor
going
now
down on the
down.
T-string.
And permanent damage coming in both from Kusanagi and Furuguri, and it's kind of caught out in the middle of nowhere here. And if they keep on up with this focus fire, the BFS, T-String's going to have a tough time. Oh, T-String just going to get out of the arc of the Kusanagi.
Oh, no engines. He is just sitting there trying to go down from what I can see, hoping to zone out the Artemis. Looks like he'll get behind the arch, but Furuguri is definitely in a position to continue harassing him, continue breaking that hull armor with those mercs.
And Timmy's Reckoning, in the meantime, looks like it was trying to hunt for the Kusanagi, but Kusanagi has moved forward. It is trying to find the T-string again, and finally those engines go up on the T-string, but armor is down once again.
Definitely.
Permanent damage. Maybe if some of those shots would have connected, but there we go, another. Here go the engines once again, going down, and guns out as well. Kusanagi coming on in and takes him out.
Definitely. Finally got those arcs in there, and he just had nothing for him. Furuguri and Kusanagi both working together to take him out. Timmy's Reckoning, boy, I bet you Byron was wishing he had kerosene now.
Yeah, Timmy's Reckoning went all the way around the backside of that mountain, trying to find where Kusanagi was located, but not able to catch him up. Now, Furuguri and Kusanagi going to retreat, knowing that the T-string will be spawning somewhere nearby. We'll see if Timmy's Reckoning can take advantage of this, or if the red team can take advantage of the fact that the Gents right now are so far split apart.
They're definitely pulling a U-turn, heading for the T-string. They don't know where Timmy is yet, but Timmy's Reckoning starting to lay in some fire on the Kusanagi. T-string again taking focus fire from both Kusanagi and
already
Furuguri.
down. Kusanagi on fire in a lot of places, but T-string taking that permanent damage with Furuguri. Those double mercs slamming into the side of the T-string, armor getting stripped constantly. Kusanagi, in the meantime, is taking some pounding too, however, as the Timmy's Reckoning still is a spot. T-string moving on fourth.
A good tar from Kusanagi trying to lose that spot, trying to make it difficult for them to shoot, but I think that spot's going to stick around. Oh, he finally does lose it.
And now
T-string moving in on
trouble
Furuguri.
by the T-string. Can T-string continue to closest distance? Maybe take out the Furuguri. Armor does get almost knocked down there. Nice repair at the end there. Just not able to take the armor down. Once again, Gatling opens on up. T-string had his front guns actually knocked out by Timmy's Reckoning. Furuguri getting chased.
Mortar going to start raining in here, but a very wide shots.
Kusanagi, in the meantime, is getting chased by Timmy's Reckoning. Furuguri did a fair amount of damage there to T-string. Furuguri just managed to evade the final shots from T-string. Kusanagi, all sorts of guns, also sorts of components out. T-string has to jump and drop on Furuguri and does rain death from above, taking out the Furuguri for a 1-1 tie. And now Kusanagi is sitting in a very tough position here between the Timmy's Reckoning and the T-string, trying to lay down some of that tar. The not being able to take out the T-string is
he's burning kerosene. He is definitely trying to get out of this situation, but I do not know if he can.
Yeah, they've definitely got an angle on him here.
Choosing to make a very long spawn away. I think Kusanagi has just been put in this position where it's just either you live or you die, but I'm not counting on you living.
Well, the Kusanagi is going to get around here. They haven't taken any permanent damage yet. Tarring up that entrance. Pretty good. And maybe if another set of tar here would have gone down, the T-string would have been caught in that fully. And now it's actually taking fire in behind. There goes another set of tar. T-string is completely sitting in that tar right now.
Oh, the hull finally goes down to the Kusanagi. Will they get it back up in time? Yes, they will.
It does, but that tar knocks out all of his engines. Every single engine is down. T-string, however, still was sitting in that tar and does get above this archway now, and poor Furuguri cannot do anything. Kusanagi stuck on the side of the Timmy's Reckoning. Armor all the way down. Merc shots coming in, trying to save him.
Wow, he gets
Oh,
us up. I don't know what happened with the mortar. I'm assuming it got disabled somehow.
yeah, I think the Merc shots disabled it, but the Kusanagi gets stuck between that crossing gap mortar stream.
T-string again, taking more damage as well to the double mercs with the Furiguri.
Oh,
Oh.
so close there. Oh no, if they continue hitting with those mercs, they can take the string out just on the power of those mercs. Will they be able to do it? Armor almost down. Yes, it does
Armor
goes. Any
down.
shot, any shot,
Oh,
any shot was
and it's
down.
down.
Oh my, following with that final merc shot of that clip. If they had not gotten that down, T-String probably would have escaped. So, great job of the Furiguri there, managing to chase down with those front Mercuries, and now they are turning their attention towards Timmy's Reckoning. Already starting to hit some of those shots. Timmy's Reckoning is completely unspotted, however, so hitting is going to start getting a little bit difficult. But good job so far, taking out some of those side guns, or sorry, it's actually the front guns of the Furiguri that went down a little bit there. Getting them rebuilt now.
Certainly, we've got the Kusanagi joining in on the fight again, and the T-string spawning further back. But you know, he's got mercs, so he can use them. He's definitely looking at the Furiguri.
Yeah, Furiguri was definitely looking at the T-string. The T-string is still spotted, so
they're definitely going for what
really
they can see. They're definitely
yeah,
going for what they can see there. T-string, his whole armor is just taking a lot of beating. And the fire coming from the Furiguri seems to be just a little bit more accurate than what the T-string is presenting.
Yeah, T-string gonna move on out of here now, losing a spot, not getting any continual hits. So I would expect that Mercury fire towards the T-string to hold up. Actually, all fire probably hold up here, as they have really no idea where anyone is, and both teams are just gonna gather on up back here. And
Yeah, this
I
is
mean,
definitely
basically,
a
we're at an even game. I mean, it's 2-2. No ship has a hull advantage. So we kind of reset this game, and now it's just best of whoever. Well, 3 more kills. 3 more kills. My point.
funny enough, it's also pretty much the same positions that they started in.
Yep, we've come full circle. Couple of kills and right back to where we started the game out.
We've come full fjord.
I see what you did there.
Oh, the bad jokes.
Oh, the puns, let them rain.
Hey, I haven't had a chance to give some bad puns in a long time, so I had to get one out during the stream. Had to. Kusanagi spotted, miraculously, and T-string taking some pot shots. Though I don't think it's going to amount to anything other than making Kusanagi move behind cover.
Kusanagi lost a little bit of hull there, but no real damage being done. I'm surprised it hasn't been repaired still. Still not. There you go. There's that mallet hit that I was waiting for. And
Well, as
T-string
I could say,
getting
they
a really
probably
return.
couldn't be bothered.
Yeah, I mean, no spot. I guess you're gonna wait around just to make sure.
Timmy's Reckoning getting a spot, and the Furiguri's having a pretty straight shot towards him as he chums around that. We'll call it the Silver Arches.
Sounds good. Like that Nomiker as a Furiguri and Timmy's Reckoning now exchanging a little bit of fire here. A lot of that Artemis shots going off into the balloon. There we go. A nice hit into the side, taking out one of those Artemis T-string. Moving on fourth. Gonna turn his side Erks right onto the Furiguri there.
And this is when we get to see the fight
connecting
between front and side mercs for the Piras again. As T-string moves into body block and take the focus away from his ally. Furiguri's armor. Ooh.
Yeah, one merc taking out another merc there, but Furiguri dropping down a little bit.
Furiguri definitely being the one in the 2v1 here. Kusanagi finally starting to get his Artemis into play now.
Artemis shots come raining in towards Timmy's Reckoning. Does take out on Artemis again on Timmy's Reckoning, but Timmy's Reckoning just going to move behind here. Kusanagi still has an angle, however, just shooting right around the side of that mountain. Just getting a few of those shots in. T-string continues to take merc fire from Furiguri, and we've got this kind of weird string of shots going in from various angles. Furiguri is still taking the worst of this with balloon on least 3/4 dead. Armor continually getting hit by that side gun of the T-string. So Furuguri is one that's hurting the most here currently, and we are down to 5 minutes left in this match. So I believe we need to get to a third kill for it not to be a tie. I'm not sure exactly. I haven't read up on my Sky League timer rules, but I'm sure Earth will
I'm
let us
going
know
to
when it's
say
appropriate.
that they're going to be the same. I'm just going to roll with that, and Urs will definitely correct us if we're wrong. So
No, I believe there's no overtime, so I'm not sure how the ending of the game will be. But we do need to get to a third kill for none of that to occur. And with 5 minutes left, these two teams have got to get a move on it because with the current
well, I bet you these teams know that
firing
that third
going on.
kill, they're both definitely going to be cautious then for the third kill, because if that's the case, they certainly don't want to lose it to something as silly as a merc shot.
Perhaps not, but you also want the win. You want to get out of here in first place. You want to play your couple of matches. You want to move on. You don't want to continue having to fight through these group stages, especially in a mega group like this where you have potentially up to 7 games in a day, and you got to wait around and get a little bit tired as these games go on. Furuguri still getting shots from
I'm
Timmy's
watching
Reckoning.
the fire from the Gents. They've chosen to split their fire from the look of it. You've got the T-string shooting at Kusanagi and Timmy's Reckoning shooting at the Furuguri. I am not sure that is going to be the recipe for success.
Yep, and we get Kusanagi losing a few more guns there, losing an engine, but no permanent damage has come down at all so far. T-string now looks like is going to be the focus of the Kusanagi and Furuguri as Timmy's Reckoning has moved back behind the what'd you call it? Silver Spire? Is that what you were calling
Silver
it?
Arches.
Silver Arches. All right, Silver Arches, and we're gonna continue this fire back and forth here, repairing up, and this may look a little boring to watching, but let me tell you, when you're on those ships, you're engineering and just stuff is breaking, and
this is the war of attrition, right?
Yeah,
here.
you're absolutely running back and forth, and every moment of this is just so hectic and so crazy. When you're
if
on
you
one
don't
of these
time it
ships.
right, if one of your engine goes when you're supposed to start taking cover again, boy, your day is gonna get messed up really quick.
Absolutely. So you've gotta have good communication between those pilots and the crew, knowing what to repair, when to, what you're going to be doing, when they've got time to do what. And as a captain, you've got to have trust in your engineers that they're going to be going at what you want them to go at and repairing as speedily as possible. And
It's when you start yelling at start to repair the hole.
yes, in your case, it's just a lot of yelling going on. I have experienced this on several occasions. All right, so T-string still shooting at Kusanagi. I think Timmy's Reckoning still shooting down at the Furuguri.
And looks like Timmy's starting to take some focus fire, but it just goes right back up again. And not seeing a lot of focus fire coming from either one of these teams right now.
Yeah, they're just kind of shooting off at each other. They're nothing.
Well, you've got,
major is
and
happening.
again, I'm looking at the perspective of the Gents here in their position. You got the T-string shooting it to the Kusanagi. Timmy was just shooting at the Furuguri, and with the loadouts that they have, it's splitting the fire like that is not going to pan out the way you need it to, especially if you're trying to get a kill. I haven't hopped over to the other side to see if they are focusing.
Well, the thing about the BFS position right now is they're out in the open. They do not need to worry at all about moving back and forth. As you see, the Timmy's Reckoning is dropping back behind these silver arches all the time. He's kind of moving forward, kind of moving back, trying to deflect as much fire. While the Furuguri and the Kusanagi, they're just sitting out here. All they're focused on is just making sure they get their fire down. They're not, they're not having to deal with any sort of movement whatsoever. They're just pew-pewing.
Definitely, and it's interesting to think about, because if they have to go behind cover, whereas BFS doesn't have to, then that means that they're actually getting the upper hand in that engagement.
Alright, well, I feel like this is going to be a good time for Urs to tell us what the overtime rules are. You are around, Urs. as
I'm sure he's
time
gonna
is
have to
about to run
explain it
down.
to somebody.
Yeah, the overtime
millionth
rule
time.
is that the game will end in 15 seconds. That's the rule.
And then what happens to the teams here?
Then there will be a shootout match played on Duel at Dawn to the first 2 kills.
Okay. So
Well,
that
there
will
you go.
come up next. Hopefully they'll be a little bit more aggressive than they were on this map. And timer has run out. So we are going to move into this shootout map on Duel at Dawn. Hopefully these two teams realize what's going on.
Well, I think Brick knows the rules, and he's already surrendered.
Yep.
It's funny, Urs, honestly, with the amount of times you have to explain these overtime rules, I'm surprised you don't just say, there are some rules, and just let people figure them out later.
Well, I mean, you know, we've had a somewhat of a known setup for stuff like Sunday Rumble. So there's a little bit of a change in Sunday Rumble. Some of those stuff we'd go into overtime and keep on fighting, but in this case, we are going to go into a semi-train hype train choo-choo. All right, Duel at Dawn. Here we go. Best of our first of 2 kills will move on in this matchup. Got just a few seconds left. We'll give a quick rundown of ships because I have a feeling this is going to get rather dirty rather quickly. All right, on the pawn, mine, pawn.
Otherwise known as mine.
We've got that. Let's see. We've got Gatling mine on one side. We've got double merc on the other, and a mine up front. So that's double mines on that ship. Interestingly enough, on the Kusanagi, we've got that one side with Gatling mortar, and looks like we've still got triple Artemis on the other. And
for
Jets.
Timmy's Reckoning, piloted by Byron, who's still an engineer. We have, looks like, 2 Artemis on a side, complemented by the front Artemis and Gat mortar. And for Shacks on Legs, let's go with that. Piloted by whatever. Feast. With the triple Arty and also Gat mortar. And we've got shots.
Shots going down already as the Gents have moved out into the open here. Shacks and Timmy's did catch Pon out on the side here and started taking out some of those guns, but Pon snuck behind the ribs here, and they're quite all right. Kusanagi taking a little bit of a bounce off the side there as it was trying to get into triple Artemis range. Not a whole lot of damage dealt to themselves, and Shacks now is the object of fire between these 2 red ships, and a lot of this is actually missing completely on Shacks. Lost a couple of his engines there. It's like the 2 turning engines are on. I don't know, maybe it's the main engine.
No, it's the main and a turning from the look of it.
It was weird. I didn't see the smoke from that main engine. All right, so Shaq's still the object of focus for the BFS team, while Timmy's Reckoning is moved on a little bit forth here, and Kusanagi and Pon, I'm not too sure that they know is there. They've got to know now, though, as Timmy's Reckoning is now shooting off the Kusanagi.
That's right.
They do get that spot down. Shaq's some more guns taken down.
Timmy getting awful close.
Losing as
Shaq's finally moving in to support his ally. Kusanagi and mine just sticking to their ribs here, using it for cover. Timmy's hull goes down.
Timmy's hull is first hull go down. Does take a little bit of a permanent damage there. They are still wide out in the open. Kusanagi and Pon moving back over, using that double.
The hull going down again. Those mercs doing a lot of work for BFS.
And those mercs come in once more, perhaps. Nope, not quite. And there's a mine lane down there, and hopefully Shax doesn't run straight into this. Timmy's Reckoning, in the meantime, dropping down, trying to escape some of these arcs. Shax is moving along onto the side, getting an arc onto, looks like the Kusanagi.
Timmy's whole armor going down again to those mercs, and
Unfortunately,
just
there's no
a lot of
follow-up
focus.
this time.
Yeah, a lot of focus fire going in on Timmy. They know that they're definitely picking their targets, and they're doing what they need to do to get that damage in.
And a lot of guns down on Timmy's Reckoning currently as well. They've got to escape somewhere to be able to lick some wounds, heal some guns. Pon and Kusanagi have lost a decent amount of components as well to the Shax in the meantime. And Shaq's now going to follow his teammate right back over, but he is losing that haul slowly. Does get it
There goes
down
the
there.
perma. Artemis coming in.
And decent amount of damage on both of these Junkers so far. And remember, this is just a best of 2 here. We're not going to 5 kills, so if these 2 ships go down, that's it.
Yeah, that's
BFS
it.
would move through.
That's yeah. So any permahull in any ship is a really big deal, and it's really touch and go. Shax again losing his whole armor.
But Pon is getting beaten here as almost all of his guns are out and losing engines now as well. So no permanent damage, thankfully, for Pon so far. Does move back around to the side of the bridge. Team's Reckoning and Shax moving on fourth, trying to keep those arcs on Pon. Pon doing a good job here, evading. They do take a few more shots, but nothing catastrophic. Armor still up. Still low on guns, however. And I'm not quite sure who these 2 blue ships are going after now. Looks like it's still Pon mostly. Few shots going towards Kusanagi as well. And now Shax is kind of out here by himself.
It's interesting to see how much that the Junker can tank for those 6 Artemis. I mean, we have yet to see, to my knowledge, a hull armor go down for the BFS team. They just don't have that bite that those mercs, once they start getting dialed in, they definitely get on fairly hard as Shax starts taking some focus fire from BFS team.
Yeah, those mercs can be a little bit difficult to hit with exactly where you want them to on a slim profile such as this Junker. It's got a very slight hull, and so it's very easy to either hit the balloon or get your shots right above or right below it. But if you can hit that armor, it will do a lot of stripping. Of course, mercs are really known for that, as well as taking components out.
Spots going down on mine, as Shax seems to be a prime target for the BFS team. Timmy falling back, and it looks like mine and Kusanagi are perfectly content on shooting Shax up, although mine is starting to, I don't know, his armor, it's been teetering, but it still has yet to go down.
Definitely going up and
lots
down.
Lots of component damage, lots of dead components, but in terms of just straight up needing to kill damage, they haven't been able to present it yet.
Yes, Artemis, very good at taking out individual components, and if you can get a decent amount of them to connect at once, they will start taking out a lot of hull and do a lot of permanent damage as well, as they are explosive types. But especially on a Junker where you have all of your components really so closely packed together, Artemis is just so effective at taking out multiple components at once.
Yeah, the only problem is that we're also shooting at more Junkers, which are basically surfboards with balloons on them, and they're extremely difficult to hit, especially at range.
Very much so, and especially since we've been changed recently, it's gotten a lot harder to hit, especially if you're moving. A lot more aiming going on, a lot more skill type involved in it, so triple Artemis not as heavily used anymore. We do of course see it here, but we usually see a lot more of that Hades Artemis combination nowadays.
Yeah, definitely getting the Hades in there to help create some chaos, help break that armor, and get those Artemis into where they really want to be if they're trying to kill something, and that's that bear hull. So it looks like a bit of a standoff. That engagement seems to be winding down slightly, and the Gents definitely came out on the short end. Both of their ships taking perma-hull damage, and BFS taking absolutely none.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of shaking going here for the Gents. They did try to approach in here and try to get around the side and focus down the ship, but they have been the ones that taken that permanent amount of damage, and now they are once again out in the open here. And if that Merc continues to connect,
Which
it's
they
gonna be
seem to be
rather
focusing on
and
Timmy right
Timmy's
now.
reckoning.
There
Oh
goes
my
his
God,
hull,
armor down, and Artemis. He just
where's the? Oh, he's hitting the
not
balloon.
not quite once more.
He's hitting the balloon,
Oh
but those
my.
mercs are still coming in. Oh man, he's lost a lot of engines. He doesn't have much movement, and he's sitting out here in the open. He spotted
And
these clouds.
this
They're not giving him the cover he was hoping for.
eventually we'll probably lose that spot, and I think he has now. So
Yeah,
a little bit of an escape there, but that
that.
was very close there for Timmy's reckoning, and the Gents have to be extremely careful here.
Yeah, they are. They're on the edge, most definitely. With they definitely need to figure out what they're going to do now, because punching those ribs that BFS have taken up shop in is just not working out for them. The way I'm assuming the way they were hoping it would have. And as
Yeah,
you
I
can
mean,
see, Timmy seems to be going towards their spawn ribs, and I'm pretty sure Shax is going to be following suit fairly quickly.
yeah, it looks like they may try to. They're either going to take refuge in their own ribs or go all the way around, as we saw in previous match today at Duel at Dawn. Go all the way
Some
around on the
spots
side.
going down. Shaq's getting caught with some Merc fire.
And does get an. Ooh, careful, mine. Fine, Pon. Okay, he was actually getting close to his own mine there, which would have been a little bit of a bad move, of course. But
As you can see, if you're watching Shax, he is just outside of that Kusanagi's Artemis range, and it looks like Timmy is going to hang out in the ribs as well. I'm pretty sure right now, well, as we see spots going down somehow, I'm pretty sure the Gents are definitely communicating right now, trying to figure out how they're going to punch this. Because if I was BFS, I don't see a reason to move. Especially with the kind of engagements they've been getting. They're definitely forcing Gent's hand here, and it's not favorable for them.
yeah, it's not happening very well for Jets here to be outside of those ribs. And so once again, we see this kind of classic. I'm in the ribs. You're in the ribs. Take some shots. Urs, do we have an overtime time limit?
Overtime time limit, boy. Only in guns would that be a thing.
We're going to be here until one of us dies.
One of us dies? Not one of these ships.
At that
Fair
point,
enough.
if either myself, you, or Zill collapsed to death, then I would call off the match.
All right. Well,
that would be the mortality clause.
Fair enough. Good to know. Good to know that all that would need to be to end the game is a cast to death. Cool.
We see some speculative fire coming in. We've got spots. A lot of spots going down. I think everybody spotted actually. There even with all these clouds rolling through, and Gents are definitely taking up the position in their ribs, and putting fire into the fortified position now of BFS. Probably trying to force them out, and we'll see if BFS decides.
Yep, Pon still managed to keep that armor up, so not taking any permanent damage. Did take a lot of component damage once more, but that's really been it. And that's just been a lot of component damage on the Kusanagi and Pon, and no permanent damage at all. They're just, well, okay, we'll hide back here, we'll fix our stuff back up, and move back on out here.
Yeah, their guns are definitely stuck together with bubble gum and probably some spit in there too.
Very much so. All right, so we're gonna get another little bit of reset here.
I look at Timmy's health. It's fairly low. lot lower than I thought it was. I
Yeah,
thought he was at half.
very low. He did take another little bit of damage there when they were kind of out in the side over here, where where the spawns generally are. So Timmy took a
Yes.
little bit more damage around there. Um, if Artemis had been able to continue to connect when they were out there, that would have been a kill. And at that point, I'm
He's
pretty
about
sure that they
he's
would have just
about
moved
one Merc
forward.
shot and one Artemis shot combined
Yeah, no,
from Kroken.
Timmy's definitely hurting. He's definitely got to be
Yeah.
extremely careful here.
They're
That's
they're definitely
exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, they're definitely being careful. Although Timmy, you gonna go that way? He's spotted.
All right, Kusanagi, Timmy, gonna exchange some fire here. Shax also laying down fire on the Kusanagi. Most of that is going on the Kusanagi now. Shax is really the only target they can currently hit. This Timmy has gone around the other side here and is not spotted either. That's a nice little firing range on the Kusanagi there, and the Kusanagi just continue on going forth. No, they have hidden back behind the ribs there. Okay, I was looking from the other side of the map here, and I thought the Kusanagi had come forth
Timmy
to the
getting
other
spotted.
side.
Mine putting in some good fire, putting him back behind that rib and keeping him locked down in that position. You got spots on Kusanagi now as Gents start raining in that Artemis fire.
A little bit of components going down once again. Kusanagi getting a few guns knocked out. Shax on legs also having one of theirs. It looks like they were both Artemis, so getting that rebuilt as quick as possible. It was Rathburn and Ed Goss in this case. And let's see here. He's Reckoning now getting hit by the Kusanagi, although I think a lot of those shots are actually going into the balloon currently. Yeah, as you can tell, a lot of those shots hitting the balloon. Timmy's Reckoning now going to fall back behind here once again. So a lot of those shots that were actually connecting were hitting the balloon. And well, a Mercury against a Junker's balloon is going to do almost nothing. It's going to take a very, very long time to be able to knock out a balloon with a Mercury.
We've got some speculative fire coming in now. I don't think it's going to amount to anything, though.
Yep, Shax's taking a few shots here and there. A little bit of balloon going damaged, a little bit of armor getting damaged, but they're just sitting right on the edge of this pipe, just ducking, dipping, raising, and ducking back down again.
So what, after the changes to the Artemis, what do you think about the triple Artemis now versus something else?
I think that Hades Artemis is much better than triple Artemis. I think the duck ships are much better set up than the triple Artemis BFS ship here. It was for a long time that you could just absolutely hammer somebody with triple Artemis and absolutely murder just incredibly quickly, and then stuff kind of changed, and it wasn't the fact that the Hades was bad before. It's just the effectiveness of it was raised. If you can hit with that Hades, even if you only hit into the balloon, it will spread fire to other components as well. Spread a lot of chaos around and make your engineers have to choose between repairing or putting out fires. Now, a good chem spray engineer might be able to counteract that, but it's a very fine skill to be able to know, to be able to keep all the timers in your head with the chem spray of, okay, this is gonna run out right now, I gotta get back there. And especially if something happens in the meantime, you don't get that chem spray off. If your Hades is connecting on a regular basis with even a balloon, or hopefully on a hull, but even a balloon, if you don't get that chem spray in there, and all you've got is a chem spray, then you're gonna have some troubles.
Yeah, it's interesting to note that the damage for the Artemis was never changed. The only thing that would lower the DPS would be the rate of the rocket travel. So all the lost damage is honestly just up to the fact that people aren't hitting as accurately as they were before.
Yeah, not hitting is accurate. Not hitting, it's a lot harder to hit on a regular basis. Kusanagi, in the meantime, has taken a little bit of a pounding here, as basically all of its components were down. No permanent hull damage, though. It did lose a lot of armor, but getting that repaired as they did move back to behind the pillar once more. Timmy's Reckoning. Well, Timmy's Reckoning getting hit here just a few times by those mercs of the Pon, and that's what Timmy's Reckoning has to be the most afraid of, is that double merc just hitting it repeatedly. If they get just a full clip off of those mercs, Timmy's Reckoning is going to be in a whole lot of trouble.
Yeah, definitely. He doesn't have a lot of wiggle room. Timmy's hull has caught fire. That's interesting. That
Not exactly sure
low
what caused
chance.
that.
Well, Artemis, it's explosive, so it does have that extremely low chance of setting something on fire.
Fair enough. They are managing to repair everything, though, and it looks like it's
still
probably only a 1 stack on that
Oh yeah,
armor.
but you can see how much a 1 stack even can do to the hull armor, though, if left unattended. He was about at half.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things where, as an engineer, you're trying to figure out what's actually better here. Do I mallet this and then wait for the long cooldown,
Hey guys.
or do I try to put this out?
All right. So I'm releasing you two. You guys can go set up the Cupcake Bandits versus Volwe game on your stream, Imagine, and I will stay here and deal with
Suffer.
this whole situation.
Okay. All right, guys.
Good luck calling that one.
Well, we're gonna duck out here. You can join my stream back over at Imagine42, so twitch.tv/Imagine42. I'll get that up as quick as possible, and
let me know
we'll
when that finishes. If we're still going here, then you can just keep rolling to losers match 2 versus the Mad Hatters.
Okay, it's Cupcakes versus Wolvie, you said, right?
Cupcake Bandits versus Wolvie. I'll get the map for you in a sec.
Okay.
Well, that's
looks
my
like it's
easy
gonna
out,
be
so...
dunes. And
Okay.
bandits
Are
have
you
red spawn.
serious? It had to be dunes.
All right, so this is Wolf. All right, so we're gonna duck out of here. Feel free to join us over at Imagine42. Put that in the chat as well, and you can join us there. And we'll hope to see you there in a couple of seconds. Good luck, Urs.
Indeed. Yes. Don't die on us. That would be so awful.
It's just you and me now, stream. To the end. As... Oh man, potentially something's happening over here on the other side of the Leviathan. We have the Timmy's Reckoning with some interesting positioning. I believe Imagine and Zill were talking about this being something that Papa Paradox has mentioned as a tactic that doesn't quite work. Although it looks like they're not going to be going all the way around, and maybe they're just trying to find some weird holes to shoot through here, but it's not working out. I don't know. I don't know what Timmy's Reckoning is doing, but what else could I possibly talk about? And yes, feel free to join Imagine42 and Rear Admiral Hill. They are broadcasting the Cupcakes versus Volwe's. That is the first losers match in this group. That is over at twitch.tv/Imagine42, or you can stick here with me and die a slow death. I mean, it's cool. Either way. Both teams very content to hang out in the ribs. Gilder complaining about the about the physics of the game not necessarily being conducive to fast-paced action all the time. I don't necessarily disagree. But at the same time, perhaps these teams could be a little more aggressive than they are now. I mean, they were talking about it before they left, but the Gents are in sort of a tricky situation here, lacking the armor shredding that the BFS has access to with those Mercury field guns. So, I guess there's not much of a reason for the Gents to pop their heads out. It's really up to BFS to force the engagement, especially knowing that the Reckoning is so heavily damaged. But we do have some spots going down, so the ceasefire may be over. At least for the time being, as we have some fire coming out from both sides. I need to refresh my memory to see what these ships are all running. That's right. Pawn with the mines. Hashtag professional broadcasts. And it seems as new clouds roll in, spots disappear, and the teams slink back into their respective sides of the map. Yeah. Some sporadic fire going through the gaps in the ribs. No substantial damage, just sort of picking away at the whole armor, picking away at the balloon. We see a couple guns going down, but again, no real substantial damage. Timmy's Reckoning taking a pretty high position here, a little bit risky. Actually, his whole armor is getting precariously low. Certainly in a quest to get some spots, but he does manage to descend without taking the death blow. Now his armor's back in a healthy situation. Also, people in chat talking about the 1 hour match between BFS and the Gents at the beginning of COG Season 2. We had a very long duel match before the Season 2 of COGS in the Sky Tournament. If anyone who watched that can recall. There may or may not be a VOD of that match on our YouTube page. I forget who they were playing. It might have been Polaris. But that was back in May, and I think that was one of the first really... Wow, and there goes Timmy's Reckoning. And we have the first point for BFS. Teams in the lobby apparently thinking that this is to the first kill. No, this is to the second kill. To the full team wipe, as it were. And that rule was written in that way to prevent a team from just charging in with abandon and eliminating one ship right before getting eliminated themselves. It wasn't really designed to take into account that this would be happening, so perhaps that was misguided. But you know what? You know who the blame lies with? Doesn't lie with these teams. Doesn't lie with me for having a potentially inadequate time limit rule. It lies with Muse Games for creating game mechanics that allow this to happen. That's not. You can't blame the teams. Come on. Come on. They're just in it to win. But we do have Timmy's Reckoning taking a spawn behind the Leviathan here. He's just hanging out. He's chilling. He's moving forward. Looks like he wants to get a side flank on the red team. Of course, that passage is heavily mined. If his intention is to get into any sort of close or medium range, which apparently it is not. He just wants a good angle on the Pon. With that triple Artemis. But I don't think any sort of sustained fire. Like with triple Artemis, you need a very long string of sustained Artemis shots to take down that whole armor of your target, so I don't foresee him doing any permanent damage without having a dedicated armor stripping weapon. But the Shack's on legs now moving in. And things get a little different when you have 6 Artemis trained on a target. The Pon-Pon's actually got to be a little careful here, because if the Gentleman's team actually managed to succeed in this flank, which allows them to get all 6 of those long-range guns onto the single red Junker, they could make something happen. But it looks like the Shocks on legs is taking some evasive maneuvers here, doing a little bit of strafing around these ribs. While Timmy's Reckoning continues to sit back, take fire as he can from behind the Leviathan. And this may be it. Shack's on legs, moving into close range. He's got that Gat mortar side poised and ready. And he's now firing on the Pon. Ooh, Shack's on legs, taking a big mine hit. All his engines, everything on his ship, catching a flame. Now the Gatling fire comes in from the Kusanagi as the Shack's on legs struggles to get these component fires under control. One gun goes down. Looks like it's the mortar. An engine goes down. The balloon's on fire. They're still taking a lot of damage. Timmy's Reckoning actually inching forward here. Probably in an effort to maintain these downward Artemis arcs. Just trying to do something. Kusanagi taking some engine and gun damage. This is giving Shack's on legs time to repair. Now he is coming back into the fight, and potentially these 2 blue ships can focus to Kusanagi. Gatling coming in, the Artemis coming in. When that armor goes down, they have one shot here to get these mortars. No, oh, there's a mortar, misses. Oh, those mortars. Mortars going way wide. Only one managing to hit before the armor goes back up, but it looks like it's going to come back down. And the Kusanagi goes down. And now the Pon is in a perilous situation. He's just here by himself. He needs some key mine hits to get these blue Junkers off of him, to give his allies some time to respawn. But the Pon-Pon's completely disabled, now shoot baiting down in just desperately trying to evade in any way that he can, but the ground's going to rise to meet him. Ooh, great mine hits though, from the Pon onto the Shacks on legs. And here comes the Kusanagi to support. Kusanagi electing, he's going to focus the Shacks on legs. He knows the Shacks on legs has taken some critical mine hits, has taken some damage. There's more damage of the two Gents ships. So good decision. But they need to keep that fire up. Kusanagi turning Gat mortar side. And not the best mine shots, but that's okay. Oh, well, okay, maybe it's not okay. I guess that is victory for the Gents as they managed to get the kill. And the Gents will advance to the bracket stage. Black Flight Squadron heading to losers match 3 later in this group, later today. But good job to the Gents. Despite not having long-range armor shredding, they forced the engagement. They came in and they were able to get some nice clean Gat mortar fight. At 34 minutes. 34 minutes. People are leaving the lobby without surrendering. All right, that's it. That's the game. Next up on the stream will be the Mad Hatters versus the winner of Volwy and the Cupcake Bandits.